Well, welcome to the Computer Fundamentals A recording for week 3. And week 3, you can see, covers the data types unit. Now, week 3 is going to be a full unit. The first 2 weeks were not full units. From here on out, weeks 3, 4, 5, and 6, those are all full units for the week. So once you wrap up that unit, then you're done with it. So no continuation or anything like that. Now, the data types unit is all about what information is, and we're going to learn about what data is. So you can see the work for the week. You have the write-up as usual. Each week, obviously, you do a write-up. Then you have the quiz. And then we're going to learn about Microsoft Office. Then you have another quiz, and you have an exam. So a pretty short week, right, as far as work. So if you're a little bit behind from previous weeks, you can get some things caught up this time. And please remember, as we start moving into future weeks, some things to remember. I have assignment directions recording, and actually you'll see the week 4, 5, weeks 4, 5, and 6. They'll be popping up here pretty soon, because after week 3, students can work as fast as they want. So if you want to get in and get the work done early, that's fine. Now the recordings might not be there, but you can get in on the work. But these videos will help you do the work in all those different units. Also, make sure you look at assignment samples, because this will help you. Like, here's an example of what your science experiment will look like in week 4, the last part of it. And here are the 3 budgets in week 5 when you do the spreadsheets unit. So use those examples to help you out, please. All right, moving on down here. So let's go ahead and jump into the data types unit. And as always, when we're talking about these units, we want to start with the Class Connect write-up. So here we are, the week 3 write-up. And by now you should know the directions. There's the directions. Follow those directions to submit write-ups, please. Okay, data types unit. In section 2 of this unit, what is the definition of data? How is data abstraction related to data? So data types, here we go. So as this says, all of you have probably heard the word data, but have you considered how much we use it every day, especially in science and computers? And Webster's Dictionary says data is factual information, measurements, or statistics used as basics for reasoning or calculation. So that's one way to think of data. Now in this unit, we're going to discuss key types of data and show how we can gather, evaluate, and even present data. And we'll do a little bit of exploration on Microsoft Office and talk about the use of data. So that's the introduction. So now let's go into section 2. And once we're in section 2, then we can start thinking about the Class Connect write-up questions. So go ahead and try this to check for answers. See if you know what data is. You learned a little bit about it just a second ago. Now in this unit, we're going to define data and demonstrate understanding of how data is used, compare and contrast different types of data, search and access data online. So formal definition. This is really the best definition of data. Factual information like statistics used as a basis for reasoning, discussion, or calculation. That's really the common definition of data. So data is not only this information, but it's also information that is usable for reasoning, discussion, or calculation. So now we talk about data and facts. So does data mean facts? Well, technically data is facts. However, the term data is thought of as information. And information may not necessarily be just facts, right? Information could be opinion and things like that. Like a judge. A judge hears both sides of the story, looks at the parties involved, and makes a decision. Takes all the information she has. Hopefully they're all going to be facts, but really essentially it's just information. So data may not always be real facts. So data, but it can be a combination of things. It's really kind of confusing, isn't it? But it can be facts, information, knowledge, guesses, opinion. It really depends on the situation. Could be any or all of these things could be data. Now, data abstraction. Data abstraction is viewing the big picture, hiding the details, and looking at different levels of information. So if we look at these three different maps, you see that this map has no information, right? This map has more information. This map even has more information. So let's think about which one is less abstract and which one is more abstract. And if you think about it, right up here what it says is that viewing the big picture, hiding the details is abstraction. So again, if we look at abstraction, so the least abstract, let's go ahead and choose that one because it has all kinds of details, doesn't it? This one up here has no details. Let's see what that one shows. See if we're correct on this. Yeah, so the first map is the most abstract because there are no details. The bottom one is least abstract because it has lots of details. So data abstraction is looking at the big picture, hiding the details. How computers process information? They process it in ones and zeros. That's called binary code. So every character is a combination of 8 ones and zeros. So 1 1 1 0 0 0 0 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0. Those are can all end up being characters. You can read more about this. Go to this link for binary code and learn a little bit about that. So we looked at how computers process data. We looked at what data is and what it refers to. Remember, more details, less abstract. Fewer details, more abstract. So if you're telling someone where you live, which would be the lowest abstraction? Meaning lowest abstraction would be the one which is most specific. Well, this one right here is most specific. That's the actual location. Okay, you have the quiz. So as always, here are the quiz previews right here, and there's that Unit 2, Section 2 quiz. So all the quiz previews are together right there. All right, Week 3, write-up still, so we answered those two questions. Section 3, what would be the 3 steps used to present data? So Section 3, 3 steps to present data. Let's think about that. So presenting data, the case study introduction. So we have a basic understanding of what data is. Now let's look at using data and figuring out how we're going to get it to other people so it's useful, right? So we're going to demonstrate an understanding of how to process and report results, how to process and report data. So as a project for your class, you're asked to present global warming to a group of first grade students at the elementary school. Your presentation is required to contain some facts and not just be political. How might we do this? So we're going to present to first graders. Well, the first thing you have to do, the step 1, with presenting your information, you have to do your research. Find information, find data, right? Global temperatures over the last 200 years, quotes from famous people, major activities the government is on. So the first step in presenting information and presenting data is to do your research. That's the first part of the Class Connect write-up answer. Second step, create a chart or some image, because images are very valuable to people. Images can demonstrate, can give lots of information and make it much more understandable for most people. So you can see that this image of temperatures, temperature changes, you can see that shows a rise in temperatures, obviously. So step number 2 in presenting data is to create a chart or some form of visual. Third step in presenting data is you put it all together so that it creates a good message. So those are the 3 steps in presenting data, and that was the Class Connect write-up question. So that's section 3. So go back to the write-up. So that was the answer to the 3 steps right there. Section 4, what is another term for software programs? List the 3 main applications for Microsoft Office and give one example of each is used. So many of you students in these questions that have 2 parts, you skip the second part. Please answer both parts to this, everyone. Alright, now we're into section 4. So section 4, so Microsoft Office, widely used software suite for home. Computer users create documents, spreadsheets, presentations, etc. And it makes it much easier to get lots of things done, much more efficient. There's Bill Gates who helped found Microsoft. So we're going to look at identify Microsoft Office applications, identify different concepts and usage related to Microsoft Office, and set select the appropriate application for the different types of work and data needed. A vocabulary. We already learned what an operating system is, right? Operating system is like the command control for a computer. It tells the computer what to do. But along with the operating system, like Windows XP or Windows 3.0 or whatever, or Mac operating system, along with those, you have software programs. And another word for software programs is applications. So that's another word for software programs. So that's Class Connect write-up answer, called applications. And the funny thing about Microsoft was originally on all Mac computers. They were combined at one time, way back in the 80s, and then they kind of split apart. And this just talks about how operating systems and the applications, how they really have come together. Microsoft was sued because their operating system and Internet Explorer were so combined. And Microsoft lost a lawsuit because it seemed like they were trying to control all of that. So anyway, another word for software programs is applications. Of course, these days you call applications apps, like on your smartphones and things, right? Now this course focuses mostly on Microsoft Office, as we talked about, but you can also use OpenOffice, and many of you are doing it. So you can see right here, this is the 1989 Apple Macintosh computers use Microsoft Office, first version. Components of Microsoft Office. Well, Word, that's a word processor. You can create documents, do word processing work. Excel, you can do a spreadsheet. PowerPoint, you can do presentations. And then there are also other applications, other parts of Microsoft Office we're not going to go into. But these are the main ones. And I want you to give me what they can be used for, not this words like, so you could say, Word can be used to type a report, or Word can be used to type a letter to my friend. Excel can be used to do a budget, or Excel can be used to figure out the miles per gallon I get in my car, or Excel can be used to create a chart. PowerPoint can be used to create a presentation for a book report, or PowerPoint can be used to create a presentation for like a business presentation. So I don't want you to just copy and paste this information. I want you to give me a specific use of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, just like I had just said. So word processor, there's some uses of the word processor right there. And this talks about Microsoft Word processor. You can look at that if you want to. Then spreadsheets, you can use a budget, science experiment calculations, keep track of a fitness program, right? With a spreadsheet, you can make charts and tables, do functions, formulas, learn how to do all that. Again, another video for you to watch. Presentations. So presentations, you can do a business presentation to show how successful a business is, or something like that. And there's more information on using PowerPoint presentations. So in summary, although many applications exist, we're going to focus mainly on the ones we just talked about. And generally, all data generated in one application be integrated into another application. So you can copy a table from Excel and put it into a PowerPoint if you want to. So that's what integration means. So review, so you need to know these things. And then finally, there's a quiz, and there's the Unit 2 Section 4 quiz. Quiz preview right up above there. Alright, let's go to the write-up. And we'll go back to the write-up. I answered all of these for you, didn't I? Alright, Section 5. What is one key factor in managing and presenting data? What are 3 key things to include in the introduction to a presentation? So Section 5. As a teacher, I've had to present information in many ways: elementary students, middle school students, high school students, etc. Imagine if I tried to give the same presentation to third graders as I would to fellow teachers. It wouldn't go over very well, right? I wouldn't keep third graders' attention. So for presentations, the most important thing, one key factor in managing and presenting data, is to know your audience. That's the answer to that Class Connect write-up question. You need to know your audience so you can present the data and the information effectively for that audience. So you need to know your audience. So here we're going to identify which Office applications are appropriate for which audiences, explore about powerful and effective presentations. So first rule, as just said, you have to know your audience in order to present your information the best way, the most effective way. Here are a couple of scenarios. So you're a new project manager for a big technology company. You're invited to present your new big idea to the company. Your audience is the CEO, which is the big boss, and vice presidents. You have 10 minutes. What's your best option? We'll go down here and go through these and see if you can get it correct. And hopefully panic's not going to be your best option. So choose one and then check your answers, see if you get it right. I'm not going to show this. I'd like you guys to do it yourself. Here's another scenario. So try that one out. So this is just practice for you. Your director of PR. PR means giving out public information, like marketing and advertising and public relations is what it's called. So read that scenario, see if you can get the right answer down here, and then hit check your answer. A third scenario, another one for you to look at. Complete an experiment on a cure for cancer. You've been invited to write an article for a technical science journal. What would be the best way to do it? Now that you know your audience, remember that's the most important thing. How do you keep them? How do you keep the audience interested? What will keep their attention? So you want to make sure you make a good first impression. And we click here and we can learn about how to stand out, how to make a good first impression. So you can look through some of this information, and it really talks about how you can do that. Well, here's a good presentation. This is part of Class Connect write-up answer right here. How to do a good presentation. Usually startling statistics. This is as you introduce the information, introduce the presentation. So use a startling statistic. You use quotes, and you tell a story. So those are the three components of a good introduction to a presentation. That's part of the Class Connect write-up question. So good, again, introduction to a presentation, use a startling statistic, use quotes, and tell a story. So those are three good components of a good presentation. Okay, biggest mistake a presenter can make. Here are a bunch of mistakes you can make. You can go too long, wrong visual aids, wrong media, too much detail or not enough, not practicing, using inappropriate humor. So those are some mistakes that presenters can make. Humor in presentations. Humor can be really effective, but it has to be the right humor. So here's a guy, he's going to tell a joke. Hey, I heard this joke last night. These two coneheads were walking down the street. Well, there's coneheads in the audience, so of course he's going to make them upset. So the humor has to be the right type of humor at the right time in the right place. Now, some things that can make it a little bit easier, like you can poke fun at yourself. I mean, that's acceptable. You don't want to poke fun at any of your audience, but you can poke fun at yourself as long as it's in good taste. Using funny cartoons or quotes, that's always good, or a current event, that's always good to kind of break the ice. Here are some additional resources on doing successful presentations, so you might want to go look at those if you have a presentation coming up or you want to learn a little bit more about it. Okay, some practice. Imagine you have to teach a group of middle school students who just learned about successful presentations. Can you think of some ideas for successful presentations for middle school students? This is just practice. You're not turning anything in on that. So that's all of section 5. Let's go back to the write-up, make sure I answered all the questions there. So what is one key factor in managing and presenting data? I talked about that. The 3 key things to include the introduction to a presentation. Remember, to find that, you need to click that link to find that answer. Okay, section 6, 4 major risks of internet use for teens. What are the 4 items that are considered plagiarism? All right, section 6, here we go. So now we're going to talk about the internet. Of course, the internet has been around for all of your lives. And some of the things about the internet, like Larry Page, he's the head of Cisco Systems. He wants to organize the world's information to make it accessible to everyone and to make it useful. And that's really what we need to have, right? Not only accessible information, but useful information. So we're going to identify how to use the internet safely and legally, identify uses for the internet at home, school, etc., understand related concepts related to trust and privacy, look at ethical uses of the internet. So using internet safety. It's important to understand the possible dangers and how to protect yourself. You need to play it safe when you're online. And here's some real life stories you can go in and take a look at about teens. But you're going to click right here on what are the risks, and this is going to give you the answers to that class connect write-up question number 9. Some of the risks. Some of the risks are cyberbullying, exposure to inappropriate material, online predators, and revealing too much personal information. So those are the risks with using the internet. That's the answer to that number 9 Class Connect write-up question. Research before the internet. So before the internet, this would be like me when I was in college. So if I was in college, I had a research project. I'd go to the library. I'd be there for hours looking through newspapers, books, articles before I even found the information. It could take me days or weeks to do a a 5-page report. Now with the internet, of course, you can do a search on Google, Yahoo search, whatever it happens to be, and just in a couple hours you have plenty of information to do an effective report. Now reliable sources, that's something we need to worry about. Which of those 2 scenarios, which one was the most reliable? So see if you can figure the answer out to that. Now citing your sources. Citing your sources means to give it a citation, meaning saying where the information came from and when it came from that place. So citing information, citing your sources is really important. And I think your language arts teacher, they've been focusing on that probably. Now using photos from the internet. Photos from the internet, you have to do a certain thing, and you'll learn it in the presentations unit, where with photos you have to cite the exact web address of where it comes from, not just you found it in a Google search. Using copyrighted material. Now this says if it's on the internet it's free. Some people think that, but that is not so. Nearly everything in the internet is owned by someone. It's called intellectual property. You cannot just steal something off the internet and use it as if it's your own. Now using the internet ethically, meaning correctly and for the right purposes, legally. You're going to link right here, click right here to plagiarism.org. And the Class Connect write-up question talked about what are 4 examples of plagiarism, or what is plagiarism. And when you click on that plagiarism link, we're going to go right down here, and if I click right here on Plagiarism 101, then I click right here, what is plagiarism? The site has changed a little bit, but here we are now. And here are the 4 things: steal or pass off ideas as one's own, to use another person's resources, another person's things someone else has produced without citing the crediting the source, to commit literary theft, to present new and original ideas as if it's new or original but it's an old idea. So that's what plagiarism is. And so in this whole section, in this whole unit of data, we learned all about data, we learned all about Microsoft Office, we learned about knowing your audience to do powerful presentations, and we learned about internet safety and plagiarism. Alright, so now you have the unit exam right here, unit exam preview right there. So I have covered all of the Class Connect write-up questions. I've discussed all of the answers. I pointed them out. Here's the last 4 right there, or the last 2 I should say. So I've done all of this for you. Everyone here should get 100% on the write-ups. There's no reason not to. So that's all I have for you. I'll go back up into the announcements just to wrap this up. So here you are, week 3. Everything for the data types unit we're done, and tomorrow you'll see week 4 will be popping up here, week 5 and week 6. I've populated those and they'll be coming on so you can start working at your own pace. Now I don't have the recordings for weeks 4, 5, and 6. I won't have those yet, but you can go in and start doing the work if you want to, because I do have the recordings, the assignment directions recordings, and that tells you exactly how to do the work. And I have for you some assignment samples to help you out. Okay, that's all I have for you. I look forward to your week 3 work coming in, and this is a fairly easy week, so hopefully you can get some work made up if you need to from week 1 and week 2. Thank you, everyone. Bye.